Jan, as she is more commonly known in the civilian sector, is someone that experts would consider a multi-potentialite. She has successfully conquered the multiverse of sectors and always excelling in every one she's traversed. A communications degree holder from the University of the Philippines in Diliman, she carved a path in every competitive marketing and advertising industry where she trailblazed as a maverick innovator of experiential marketing and brand activation. She holds two master's degrees, one in National Security Administration and another in Public Management, specializing in development and security. She is now pursuing her PhD in Peace and Security Administration, while in between, she had completed multiple courses in cybersecurity at the Asian Institute of Management, the Chatham House Royal Institute of International Affairs based in London, and she is currently a CHED AFP Scholar of the University of Cincinnati Cybersecurity Bootcamp Program. Jan also completed the AFP Command and General Staff course, which is the highest military schooling with distinction, and now serves as the first female commander of the Ready Reserve Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army based in the province of Laguna with a lieutenant colonel rank.
Wow. And she has earned multiple awards and recognition, with the highest so far is Bronze Cross Medal and the Best Reservist for the AFP South Luzon Command for 2021. She was recently awarded the Jefferson Awards Foundation for Public Service and Volunteerism in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, as one of the ASEAN's top women in security for 2022 by the International Group Women in Security and Resilience Alliance, or WISECRA. I'm sorry. And fun facts about her: she loves to skydive. She looks for travel destinations to skydive. Pre-pandemic, she celebrates her birthday in the Philippines, then fly out in the evening and arrive at a destination where it is still her birthday. Wow! So she has a prolonged birthday celebration every year. She is the first she's the first battalion commander of the Army Reservist Unit in the province of Laguna, and she rescued and helped repatriate 10 Filipino victims of human trafficking, and the trafficker was eventually convicted. Sharing her speech entitled Battle for the Filipino Spirit in the Age of TikTok. Streaming live from Enduran Extension, Pasig City, ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Jam Chavez Arceo.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Greetings of peace and good health to all of you. First, I wish to thank the amazing Miss Apple Manala Sala and the GWWR and TNC teams for putting together this incredible organization and movement that focuses a bright spotlight on Filipino women who are leading and impacting the world through so many incredible ways. I am extremely humbled and deeply honored and grateful to be part of this global women who rule family. Thank you to my high school batchmate, Gladys Rondina, for nominating me. Thank you, Batch. As someone who grew up and studied within the University of the Philippines educational system and community, I like my being an iska, or I take my being an iska or scholar ng bayan to my core. This simply means that I strive to do excellent work in everything I do, and as much as possible with honor, integrity, and the Filipino people and the country always in my mind. To quote former UP President and now DTI Secretary Fred Pascual, we in UP succeed not because we have a reputation to keep, but because we have a country to serve. This has always been my guiding principle and mantra through the years that I have chased my dreams, not just for myself, but for my family, and of course, for our country. I have always been asked what I do exactly, since People seem to get confused given the multiple hats that I wear. I myself get confused sometimes myself. But aside from being a mother, daughter, and wife and social entrepreneur, I'd like to be known as an educator, peace builder, and a citizen soldier. I have always been a staunch advocate and defender of our women and children from abuse and exploitation. I also believe that education is one's ticket out of poverty and indignities, and peace and national unity can and will lift the people and this country out of poverty and propel our nation to prosperity. This is why, as a citizen and military officer, I strongly believe that we all must realize that it is our moral and constitutional duties to defend our people and our land from anything that will threaten and prevent it from reaching its highest potential as a nation. We dream of a future with each Filipino enjoying an ultimate sense of security in their daily lives. This security means freedom from fear, freedom from want, and freedom to live in dignity. Plus, having all the possible opportunities available for every Filipino to become their best selves as they pursue and realize their respective dreams. Education, ladies and gentlemen, is our weapon. I mentioned that I'm a firm believer in education as a ticket out of poverty and slavery. Education is also our greatest weapon to defend our nation from any threat to our national security. For me, the greatest threat to our nation is when the last ounce of our patriotic sense is completely decimated and wiped out. When our sense of nationalism is progressively diminished with other nationalities as our ideals, we empathize more with other nationalities instead of being proudly Filipinos. When that happens, we lose the battle, and our nation's future becomes very dim. Hence, we need to realize that we are in constant war with ourselves and the elements that try to make us less Filipinos in mind, heart, soul, and spirit. Our minds are the battlefield. I wish to cite 5 books that discussed how the mind is the ultimate battlefield. The classic book of Al Rice and Jack Trout was every marketeer's Bible of my generation. It was this book that was the first to deal with the problems of communicating to a skeptical media blitz public. This book described a revolutionary approach to creating a position in the prospective's consumer's mind, reflecting a company's own strengths and weaknesses, as well as those of the competitors. The book also proposed how to make and position in an industry leader so that as its name and message is ingrained in the subconsciousness of the target market, and it stays there. The book, The Positioning, A Battle for the Mind, also proposed to position a follower or secondary brand so that it can occupy a niche not claimed by the leader. And the authors, Rice and Trout, prescribed that letting a second product or brand ride on the coattails of the leader. They said that we should not allow, a leader brand should not allow a second brand to ride on its coattails. These are actually nuggets of marketing wisdom that are basic and still very relevant and applicable even to nation building. The other book, Beyond the Battleground, offers methods of adapting to circumstances, conserving one's own resources, and avoiding or dissolving conflicts. Its prescription are anchored on the teachings of one of the best military strategists in the history of the world, Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu said that it is best to defeat an enemy without firing a single shot. The third book is the bestseller Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. She teaches how to deal with thousands of thoughts that people think every day and how to focus the mind the way God, who is the ultimate commander-in-chief and the greatest war strategist, does it. The other book that I wish to talk about is The Four Battlegrounds by Paul Scar. Paul Scar is an award-winning defense expert. He tells the story of today's great power rivalry, the struggle to control artificial intelligence. He argues that four key elements define this struggle. He said these are data computing power, talent, and institutions. Data is the vital resource like coal and oil, but it must be collected and refined. Advanced computer chips are the essence of computing power. Control over the chip supply change can give leverage over the rivals. Talent is about people. Whichever country attracts the best researchers and most advanced technology companies has the strategic competitive edge. The fourth battlefield, according to Scar, is maybe the most critical. His book cites that the ultimate global leader in AI will have institutions that effectively incorporate AI into their economy, society, and especially their military. The author described in the book how AI systems are already discovering new strategies via millions of wargaming simulations. They are developing combat tactics. They are better actually than humans in that area now. They are also tracking millions of people using biometrics and subtly controlling information with secret algorithms. In his visits to China's national team of leading AI companies, he observed the military's he observed that there is a chilling synergy between China's government, private sector, and the surveillance state. His interviews of Pentagon leadership and U.S. Defense Department offices in Silicon Valley revealed deep tensions between the military and the tech giants who control the data chips and the talent. Yes, and yet, according to him, this may be giving some tension, and it is inherent in our democratic system, and it can create resilience and resistance to autocratic powers. That seems to be a slight silver lining, don't you think? In the book For Battlegrounds, a vivid picture of how AI is transforming warfare, global security, and the future of human freedom was described vividly, and what it will take for democracies to remain at the forefront of the world order. In the last book that I want to discuss, Like Water, authors Singer and Brookings tackle the interesting and mind-bending question that arise when war goes online and the online world goes to war. They explored how IC's copies the Instagram tactics of no less than Taylor Swift. And they talked about how a former World of Warcraft addict was able to foil war crimes thousands of miles away. There were stories of internet trolls that shaped elections, and how China uses a smartphone app to police the thoughts of 1.4 billion citizens. Looking to the crucial years ahead, this book, Like War, continues a radical new paradigm for understanding and defending against the unprecedented threats of the network world. So, given all this, we need to defend the Filipinos' last battlefront. These books are unanimous in identifying the last battlefront and how future wars will be fought, and that will be in the minds of the population or in the nation's cognitive domain. This brings me to my message in today's conference. Defending the Filipino nation's last battlefront is what I want to focus on. Nation is defined as a large body of people associated with a particular ancestry, history, common language, and culture, and that it sufficiently and consciously pursue in unity. It seeks to possess a government peculiarly its own, while a battlefront or battleground is a place or context within which a struggle is fought. In the military context, it is where combat actually happens or takes place in the traditional sense of war fighting. The authors I cited, as well as military and defense experts, are saying that the last battleground is the human mind. We always say in the military and in marketing that our mission or objective is to win the hearts and minds of our target constituencies and our target markets. If this is the case, every Filipino is an actual target. If the objective is to win the hearts and minds of the people, let's take a look. It looks like TikTok is actually beating us in that area. In strategic communication and in brand marketing, knowing fully the profile of the target audiences or market is critical in the success of any campaign. Hence, let us have a look in terms of who the target of the attack is, the Filipino netizen, who seems to be very much enamored with TikTok and other social media platforms. So, the January 2023 Digital Global Overview Report notes that we now have almost 85 million Filipinos on social media. That is 74% of the total 13 million Filipinos. The average age of our population is 25 years old. We have a country with almost half of its population dominated by the youth. A youth population that seems to be very engaged and immersed online. As one of the biggest social media consumers in the world, this youth or this large youth population uses for its various activities social media and enjoys very much. Having been exposed to many content on social media, are our Filipino youth truly still aware of their Filipino identity? Do they still identify themselves as Filipinos? What does it mean to be Filipinos for these young people who will be our nation's leaders in the future? Are the Filipinos getting its education from TikTok? So what is TikTok? Aside from the singing and dancing, why is TikTok so popular and engaging? We know that it is a short form video hosting service owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance. Since its launch in 2016, it has garnered a phenomenal global popularity, especially among the young people who use it for expressing themselves as an outlet by singing, dancing, using comedy, and even lip syncing. TikTok allows users to create videos and share content across a community. It is also now being used up. Can we rewind the slides, please, to TikTok? TikTok is also being used for knowledge and information sharing. And the Filipinos were not spared and immediately got hooked as well. TikTok is now the third most used social media platform by Filipinos. TikTok is actually in our minds, but is it draining our Filipino spirits? Is TikTok programming our minds? Is it being used as opium and turn our people into mindless zombies? Is TikTok affecting the Filipino spirit? What is the Filipino spirit then? Is it just about being resilient in the face of disasters? Is it about turning tragedy into comedy, looking for the silver lining in a crisis situation? There is nothing wrong with that, if that is the Filipino spirit. But for me, this is the Filipino spirit. The next one, please. Yes, thank you. For me, this is the Filipino spirit. A clear sense of being a Filipino, excelling and being honorable in everything that we do, and defending our people and our nation from any threats, big or small, seen or unseen. We need to defend our last battleground. We need to all work together to defend and protect the Filipino mind, because when we do, we recapture the Filipino soul. And when that happens, we will move the national spirit forward. In closing, I pray that we will move from this to this. My dream of one day we will all suffer from what we call last song syndrome with these lyrics in our hearts and in our minds. Sa manlulupig, di pasisiil. At ang lumaban at magtagumpay ng dahil sa iyo, bayan Pilipinas. Hopefully, these are the lyrics that will continue to run through our minds constantly, daily, forever. As a Filipino citizen soldier, this is my mission. We must succeed because we have a nation to serve. Maraming salamat po. Congratulations, Global Women Who Rule. Thank you very much, and happy International Women's Day. Thank you, everyone.